Ladies and gentlemen, there is a reason some men can't be stopped. You can knock them down and they'll rise again. You can close the door on them and they'll build another way in. You can betray them, abandon them, mock them, and somehow they come out wiser, stronger, and more focused. What is it that makes them unstoppable? Let me tell you a truth that most never discover. The secret behind unstoppable men is not their strength. It's their clarity of purpose. Purpose is not a wish. It's not a dream. It is the original intent for which something was created. When a man finds his true purpose, he no longer begs for attention. His vision commands it. He no longer reacts to pressure. He operates from principle. And he doesn't run from pain. He uses it to grow. Unstoppable men have learned to die to approval. They no longer chase applause because they've heard the voice within. They don't compete with other men because they're not in a race. They're on assignment. The secret is not in how loud they speak, but in how deeply they've listened to the call over their life. These men live by conviction, not convenience. Their discipline is not rooted in motivation, but in mission. Every step they take is calculated. Every no they say is sacred. Every yes is tied to destiny. They protect their time because they know it is currency. They guard their energy because their assignment is costly. They align their relationships because purpose cannot afford distraction. Now, listen closely. Unstoppable men are not perfect, but they are committed. They fall, but they fall forward. They fail, but they fail learning. They suffer, but they suffer with vision. And because of that, even their losses become fuel. That purpose is the invisible force that shapes the destiny of men who refuse to live an ordinary life. It is not a fleeting emotion, not a motivational high that fades after a few days, and certainly not a goal that changes with seasons. Purpose is the very essence of why you were born. It is the original intent planted in your spirit before you ever took your first. A man without purpose may be successful, wealthy, even admired, but he will always be empty. He may rise in status, but remain low in fulfillment. Purpose is what gives meaning to the breath in your lungs, the fire in your bones, and the vision in your... There's a reason purpose is the core of power. It is the only thing that gives your strength direction. You can be strong, but without purpose, your strength becomes scattered. You will fight battles you were never called to fight. Spend energy in places that do not serve your destiny and pour time into things that don't matter in the long run. But when you are a man of purpose, every move becomes intentional. Every word carries weight. Every connection is examined through the lens of destiny. You don't chase popularity. You walk in purpose. And purpose will always attract the right people, the right resources, and the right time. A man who has found his purpose becomes dangerous, not because he seeks to harm, but because he refuses to be stopped. He may be slowed down, he may be delayed, he may even be attacked, but he will not be defeated because his assignment is greater than the opposition. Purpose gives you perseverance. It gives you focus in the face of chaos. It gives you resilience when life hits hard. When storms come, and they will, you don't lose your way because your purpose acts as your internal compass. It may not tell you exactly what will happen next, but it will always remind you of why you're still moving. Men with purpose are not easily distracted. They don't waste their energy proving their worth because they know they were born with value. They don't need to compete with others because they're too busy completing their assignment. They don't seek to impress because they were designed to impact. And that's the difference. Without purpose, a man lives to be seen. With purpose, he lives to be effective. And effectiveness is what makes men unforgettable. You see, true power is not loud. It doesn't need to announce itself. It doesn't scream in rooms for validation. Purpose carries a quiet strength, a presence that speaks louder than words. Men with purpose don't have to force their way into opportunities. They prepare, and opportunities find them. They don't need to manipulate outcomes because they trust the process tied to their purpose. Purpose makes you patient. Purpose makes you humble. Purpose makes you bold, but not reckless. A man of purpose also becomes a man of order. He begins to align every area of his life, his thoughts, his habits, his friendships, even his environment with his mission. He knows that distractions are not just dangerous, they are expensive. They cost time. They cost focus. They cost momentum. And so, he becomes ruthless with what he allows in his life, not out of arrogance, but out of reverence for his calling. Purpose will also purify a man's motives. When you know why you were born, you stop doing things just to be noticed. You don't need to fake greatness because your authenticity becomes your authority. You don't wear masks to gain approval because your identity is rooted in something eternal. Purpose brings clarity, and clarity brings freedom. You no longer feel the pressure to be everything to everyone. You're secure in being exactly who you were created to be. This is why purpose is power, because it not only moves you, it transforms you. It shapes how you love, how you lead, how you respond to adversity. Purpose turns wounds into wisdom. It turns rejection into redirection. It turns pain into a platform. It turns ordinary men into unstoppable forces. And let's be clear, purpose is not something you invent. It is something you discover. It has been within you all along, waiting for you to get quiet enough, desperate enough, and hungry enough to search for it. When a man finally taps into his purpose, everything shifts. He stops wandering. He stops performing. He starts building. This is the kind of man that shakes nations. The kind of man that leads generations. The kind of man that even when he dies, his legacy lives on. Because a life lived with purpose does not end in the grave. It echoes into eternity. So if you want to be truly powerful, if you want to be unstoppable, don't just build muscle. Don't just build status. Because once you find it, you'll realize that you were never meant to blend in. You were always meant to stand out. And nothing in this world will be able to stop a man who knows why he's here. There comes a point in every man's life when he must choose between what is easy and what is right. That is the crossroads of growth. And the ones who become unstoppable are those who choose conviction over convenience. Conviction is not based on how you feel in the moment. It is rooted in what you believe, even when those beliefs cost you comfort. Convenience is the path of least resistance. It's the shortcut. It's the temporary win that often leads to long-term regrets. But conviction is the long road, the tested road, the road that demands your discipline, your sacrifice, and your endurance. Men of conviction are not driven by circumstances. They are guided. They don't shift like sand when the pressure rises. They stand like mountains, unshaken by storms. When the world offers them the easier route, they choose the path that aligns with their principles, even if it means going alone. Because to a man of conviction, compromise is too expensive. Convenience may offer pleasure for a moment, but it often robs a man of his purpose in the long run. And purpose is never for sale. When you choose conviction, you become dangerous to the systems that depend on your silence. You become a threat to environments that want you to conform. Conviction demands that you live by design, not by default. It requires you to make decisions that may offend others, but protect your destiny. It means saying no when it's easier to say yes. It means drawing boundaries when others want access. It means standing for truth when lies are more profitable. A man of conviction knows that convenience will always try to seduce him. It will whisper in the ear of his ambition. It will tempt him with applause, approval, and shortcuts. But a man of conviction doesn't bow to applause. He answers to purpose. He understands that taking the easy road now may cost him everything later. Conviction does not make a man stubborn. It makes him stable. It anchors him when the winds of temptation blow. It strengthens him when distractions try to dilute his focus. It disciplines him to be faithful when no one is watching. Because character is not built in the spotlight. It's forged in a secret place. Conviction requires courage. It takes courage to walk away from a good opportunity that doesn't align with your values. It takes courage to confront injustice when everyone else stays silent. It takes courage to live with integrity in a world that rewards deception. But that courage becomes your crown. And over time, the same people who doubted your decisions will admire your discipline. Men who live by conviction become leaders, not because they demand control, but because they live in such alignment with purpose that others naturally follow them. People are drawn to stability. They are drawn to consistency. They are drawn to truth. And a man of conviction embodies all three. He doesn't speak to impress. He speaks to impact. He doesn't react emotionally. He responds intentionally. He doesn't live to be liked. He lives to be effective. Conviction is also what separates temporary success from lasting significance. You can build an empire through convenience, but only conviction can build a legacy. You can gain influence through charm, but only convict you authority. You can gain followers through trends, but only conviction births transformation. This is why conviction matters. It doesn't just shape what you do, it shapes who you are becoming. A man of conviction may not always be popular. He may be misunderstood. He may be criticized, but he will sleep in peace. Because deep down, he knows he is living from a place of truth. He is not acting for the crowd. He is obeying a calling that cannot be ignored. And that calling demands that he let go of what is easy and embrace what is eternal. Conviction demands sacrifice. It may cost relationships. It may delay certain outcomes. But what it gives in return is priceless: peace of mind, strength of spirit, and clarity of direction. When your convictions are clear, your decisions become simple. Not always easy, but simple. You don't have to wonder who you are or why you're here. You live with intention. You move with focus. You speak with clarity. Convenience is loud. It rushes you. It flatters you. It distracts you. But conviction is quiet. It grounds you. It disciplines you. It calls you to something higher than comfort. It's not about being it's about being principled. It's not about being flawless. It's about being faithful. So if you want to be a man who endures, a man who leads, a man who builds something that time can't erase, choose conviction over convenience. Make the hard decisions now so you won't live with regret later. Stand when others sit. Speak when others whisper. Move with courage when others hesitate. Because the man who lives by conviction is not swayed by seasons. He is led by vision. He doesn't wait for the right conditions. He creates them. And in the end, he may not have taken the easy road, but he will have taken the right one. And that makes all the difference. Failure is a teacher that does not flatter. It exposes what we've ignored, tests what we claim to believe, and reveals the depth of our commitment. Many people start strong, driven by passion, inspired by dreams, and cheered on by the applause of others. But the moment failure shows up, most retreat. They interpret failure as a sign that they should quit, back away, or lower their expectations. But unstoppable men see failure differently. They don't see it as a wall. They see it as a mirror. And in that mirror, they measure their commitment. Commitment in the face of failure is what separates those who merely talk about greatness from those who actually walk in it. Anyone can be committed when things are working. Anyone can stay focused when doors open, plans succeed, and life feels rewarding. But true commitment is revealed when nothing goes according to plan, when the dream gets delayed, when people walk away, when everything you've built seems to collapse. That's when you find out what you really believe. The truth is, failure is inevitable, but quitting is a choice. Commitment is the decision to keep moving forward even when your results scream, stop. It's the voice in your soul that says, this is still worth it even when your surroundings say otherwise. Commitment doesn't deny pain. It presses through it. It doesn't ignore disappointment. It grows from it. The man who is committed doesn't wait to feel strong. He acts with resolve, even when he feels weak. In the face of failure, many lose heart because they confuse failure with finality. But failure is not the end. It is the refining fire. Commitment is what turns that fire into fuel. It is what takes the broken pieces and begins to rebuild. It refuses to accept defeat as identity. It acknowledges the loss, learns from the mistake, and then steps forward again, wiser, tougher, and more focused than before. You see, failure doesn't cancel purpose. It tifts the shallow from the deep. It burns off what was never meant to last. And for the man who refuses to give up, failure becomes a classroom of wisdom. His character grows deeper, his perspective becomes sharper, and his actions become more intentional. Commitment teaches you how to remain when everything in you wants to run. It teaches you how to show up when no one's clapping. It teaches you how to keep believing when the evidence disappears. There is something powerful about a man who won't quit. Not because he's proud, but because he's anchored. Anchored in vision, anchored in faith, anchored in a promise that's greater than the pressure. He has made a vow not to success, but to the process. That kind of man is dangerous to mediocrity. He won't accept almost. He won't settle for enough because he knows that what's inside him is too valuable to be buried by temporary loss. Commitment is not emotional. It is intentional. You don't wake up every day feeling committed. You choose to be committed even when you're tired, even when you're doubting, even when you're grieving. Because the assignment doesn't disappear when it gets hard. In fact, it becomes more urgent. Every great man has met failure. Every builder has had to rebuild. Every leader has been misunderstood. But those who keep showing up are the ones who eventually shift history. Failure will always ask you a question. Do you still want this? Commitment times with action. It doesn't negotiate. It doesn't look for sympathy. It takes the hit and says, oh, let's go again. Commitment transforms pain into purpose. It turns rejection into redirection. It takes the tears and turns them into fuel. A man who is committed in the face of failure becomes immune to fear. Not because he doesn't feel it, but because he's already died to the fear of looking foolish. He's no longer living to protect his image. He's living to fulfill his assignment. His ego is not in charge. His mission is, and that kind of man can't be manipulated by opinions or slowed down by setbacks. He's not looking for easy, he's looking for eternal. This kind of commitment is not common. That's why unstoppable men are rare. They are the ones who refuse to allow a moment of failure to rewrite their future. They may bleed, but they don't back down. They may cry, but they don't quit. They may pause to catch their breath, but they never abandon the process. In the end, it's not the man who starts with the most excitement who wins. It's the one who endures with the most commitment. The race isn't given to the swift, but to the one who keeps running even when his legs burn, his lungs ache, and his hope gets tested. So if failure has knocked you down, don't waste time asking why. Ask yourself this: am I still committed? If the answer is yes, then rise again. Because your failure isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning of your strength. Keep believing. Because commitment is the proof that your vision is real, and nothing can stop the man who refuses to stop. Discipline is not about rules. It's about alignment. When a man is truly on a mission, discipline becomes his lifestyle, not his burden. He doesn't need to be pushed, reminded, or constantly motivated, because something deeper is fueling him. Discipline without a mission is legalism. But discipline fueled by mission is power. It is sharp, it is consistent, it is fierce, and it makes a man unstoppable because he no longer lives by preference. He lives by principle. A man on a mission wakes up with intention. He doesn't rise to chase distractions. He rises to pursue destiny. Every day becomes an opportunity to move closer to the assignment placed within him. He understands that every choice either pushes him forward or pulls him back. So he does not waste time. He is not casual with his focus. He is not emotional with his energy. He disciplines his mind, his habits, and his decisions because he knows that greatness is not found in comfort. It is forged in consistency. Discipline is the bridge between desire and destiny. Wanting something is not enough. Many want success. Many want impact. Many want to leave a legacy. But few are willing to pay the price. The price is your discipline. The price is your ability to say no to comfort, no to distractions, no to shortcuts, so you can say yes to the mission. When your mission is clear, your decisions become simple. You don't need 100 options. You need one path walked with unwavering focus. A man who is disciplined by mission doesn't wake up and ask, what do I feel like doing today? He asks, what must I do today to serve the mission I was born for? His mission speaks louder than his moods. His purpose outweighs his pain. His focus outlasts his fatigue. That kind of man may look intense to the world, but he's simply aligned with something bigger than himself. And that alignment produces fruit, not just external success, but internal strength. You see, when discipline is fueled by ego, it becomes pride. When it's fueled by comparison, it becomes toxic. But when it's fueled by mission, it becomes a tool for transformation. It not only changes what a man does, it changes who he becomes. His discipline becomes the evidence of his commitment. Not perfection, but direction. Not image, but impact. Mission gives discipline meaning. Without it, you will always return to what's comfortable. But when you are gripped by a mission, you will endure hardship, delayed gratification, and remain steady under pressure. You will ignore noise, reject excuses, and rise above laziness because the mission matters more than your momentary feelings. Mission doesn't make life easier. It makes you stronger. It demands more from you so it can produce more through you. Discipline shows up in the quiet decision. What you feed your mind, how you treat your body, what you allow in your environment, who you give access to your time, These are not small things, they are seeds. And the man who disciplines his daily decisions is the man who eventually walks in uncommon power. Because while others are entertained, he is being equipped. While others are distracted, he is being developed. While others quit halfway, he is building momentum that cannot be stopped. Men who are disciplined by mission understand that their time is sacred. They are not casual with their schedule because they are accountable to a calling. They show up when they don't feel like it. They train when it's inconvenient. They study when it's boring. They lead when no one applauds. Why? Because their commitment is not to applause. It is to assignment. This level of discipline will cost you. It will cost you comfort. It will cost you convenience. It will cost you certain relationships. But what it produces in return is priceless. Clarity, credibility, capacity. The man who walks in discipline is the man who will always be ready when opportunity knocks. He doesn't have to scramble. He has been preparing. He doesn't have to fake it. He has been becoming it. The world respects discipline because it's rare. In a culture addicted to shortcuts, a man of steady discipline stands out. He becomes a pillar. Not because he shouts the loudest, but because he stands the longest. He is rooted. He is trusted. It means walking away from those who only feed your ego, but starve your spirit. Selective relationships also require self-awareness. You must be honest about the kinds of relationships you attract and tolerate. Are you surrounding yourself with people who challenge you to grow, or people who enable your excuses? Are your relationships building your character, or just stroking your comfort? Growth will often require separation. Some people were only assigned to a previous version of, and when you outgrow that version, you must also outgrow those ties. It takes courage to walk alone for a season so that you can walk aligned for a lifetime. Many men stay in toxic environments out of fear. Fear of rejection, fear of loneliness, fear of confrontation. But a man who is grounded in purpose is not afraid to make necessary cuts. He knows that one wrong relationship can destroy years of discipline. One wrong influence can corrupt months of progress. So he moves with caution, not paranoia, discernment, not... Setting boundaries also teaches people how to treat you. You train others through what you tolerate. If you constantly allow disrespect, manipulation, or dishonor, you are giving people permission to violate your values. But when you establish and enforce clear boundaries, you communicate that your mission matters, that your time is not cheap, that your energy is sacred, and the right people will not be offended by your boundaries. They will be drawn to your clan. Relationships should not feel like constant resistance. Yes, there will be challenges and growth, but your closest connections should carry peace, not pressure. They should breathe life into your vision, not confusion. A man who is surrounded by aligned relationships becomes more effective, more focused, and more grounded. He gains strength, not just from within, but from around him. So if you want to remain unstoppable, you must become unapologetic about your boundaries. You must become selective about your circle life. Not out of pride, but out of purpose. You are not rejecting people. You are protecting what matters most. You are not isolating yourself. You are aligning your life. And in that alignment, there is strength, there is clarity, there is growth. Because ultimately, you will rise or fall based on what you allow around you. Choose people who speak truth. Speak truth, not just flattery. Walk with those who value your purpose, not just your presence. Let your relationships reflect the direction of your mission. And let your boundaries be the guardrails that keep your life on course. In the end, a man becomes unstoppable not just by what he builds, but by what he's willing to guard. Protect your space, honor your time, and surround yourself with people who push you forward. That is how legacies are formed. That is how purpose is preserved. That is how greatness is sustained. A man who lives with a legacy mindset does not measure his life by years. He measures it by impact. He understands that life is not just about what he achieves, but what he leaves. Legacy is not about being remembered for being great. It's about being remembered for what you gave, built, and passed on. A legacy mindset is not driven by applause or accolades, but by assignment. It asks, what will outlive me because I lived right? Legacy is not just what you leave behind when you die. It's what you're building while you live. It shows up in your character, your choices, your relationships, and your discipline. It shows up in the people you influence, the principles you model, and the problems you solve. A legacy mindset sees beyond the moment. It resists the temptation to be impressive and instead strives to be impactful. Men who live with a legacy mindset don't chase attention. They build foundation. They are not distracted by trends because they are rooted in truth. They understand that temporary applause can never replace eternal impact. While others are building platforms, they are building principles. While others are building image, they are building influence. Because legacy is not about what's trending, it's about what's lasting. A man of legacy doesn't just live for today. He prepares for tomorrow. He understands that every choice he makes is a seed being planted into the future. Start today. Build intentionally. Live purposefully. And leave a mark that time cannot erase. In the end, the secret behind unstoppable men is not found in their strength alone, but in the foundation beneath their strength.